December 1805. Napoleon Bonaparte has just won the greatest military victory of his life at the Battle of Austerlitz, known then as the Battle of the Three Emperors. It's a turning point in European history. The Austrian Empire is destroyed, the Russian army defeated. The three emperors have met, and Bonaparte has dictated terms and secured peace. A week after the battle, from the frozen fields of Moravia near Brünn, a French soldier named Hinard, quartermaster in the 40th Infantry Regiment of the Grande Armée, writes home to his wife to describe to her the glorious month he has had and reassure her of his safety. Before we start, be sure to quickly hit like and subscribe for more Eyewitness Napoleonic history on our channel. Our favorites include memoirs from a captain in Napoleon's Imperial Guard, details of the legendary cavalry charge at Somme Sierra, and reports from the Battle of Trafalgar from head surgeon of the HMS Victory, who was at Admiral Nelson's side for his final moments. The following is an English translation, the words of a man who fought under Napoleon at Austerlitz and lived to tell the tale. Near Brünn in Moravia, 19 Brumaire, year 14, 10th of December, 1805. Dear Rosalie, with what joy I write to you now to give you my news since my last letter from Landshut. After all the different events we've experienced since the capture of Ulm, I am able to tell you that I am in good health. Your letter, in response to mine from Landshut, which I received yesterday, reassured me that you, my dear wife, as well as our children, our mothers, and the whole family are also well. You can imagine how much happiness that brought me, along with the peace that has just been granted to us by the famous and unparalleled battle known as the Battle of the Three Emperors, which took place on the plains of Brünn. Our army advanced on Vienna with lightning speed and took the city after overrunning all fortified positions, forcing crossings over the Danube and at Linz, where the enemy had destroyed all the bridges, capturing and destroying a large part of the Austrian and Russian armies. On the far side of the capital, however, the enemy had a strong position and occupied a bridge protected by the formidable artillery, ready to fire and rigged underneath with barrels of gunpowder, intending to blow it up as we crossed. But nothing stopped the courage and boldness of our army. The bridge and artillery were taken, and the enemy was forced to retreat. They were being pursued on the roads and across the plains when the Russians regrouped and mounted strong resistance. They momentarily forced us to retreat, occupying villages and firing on our men from doors and windows, refusing to budge. Immediately, we fired howitzers at the villages, reducing them to rubble and forcing the Russians to abandon their positions and retreat again. We pursued them so fiercely that they had no time to reorganize. Their only recourse was to burn the bridges behind them to slow our advance. But this all came at a heavy cost. Many lives were lost. The Russians, who made up the stronger force, are not like men, but like animals. They fear neither danger nor death. They are like walls, unshakable. Only the bayonet seems to frighten them. That is what made us victorious and allowed us to take thousands of them prisoner. After chasing them into Moravia, our army seized Brünn and its fortress, fortified it in case of a counterattack while the enemy took up position in the surrounding hills. Our troops joined forces with the army of Italy and occupied all of Tyrol and part of Bohemia, while Prince Charles was being pursued by that same army. We had no fear of being surrounded, which allowed our troops to rest and spread out among the nearby villages for 8 days. Each day, they would go on reconnaissance missions and return at night to sleep. But with reinforcements arriving for the Russian army, they planned to cut off our retreat toward Vienna. This led our entire army regrouping. On the 10th of Brumaire, the anniversary of the emperor's coronation, every soldier lit a torch of straw in the bivouacs to celebrate. The emperor was present and announced his intention to attack the enemy. He said it would be a great day, that only one final battle remained, but the attack did not happen that day. The next morning, at dawn, the enemy launched a full assault on our three-army formation. With all three emperors present, battle began in earnest by 8 a.m., and fire was exchanged with unmatched intensity. The Austrian army was soon routed and taken prisoner, but the Russian army held fast. Over 100 cannons unleashed a terrible barrage on our battalions. The Russians remained unmoved, confident in their victory. They had prepared well. Just 200 paces behind their line, they had stacked their packs and left one man per company to guard them, hoping to travel light and deliver us a crushing blow. But a bayonet charge and cavalry assault quickly dashed these hopes. Across the battlefield, it became a massacre. Never was a battle more terrible. Marengo now ranked second in comparison. From 6 a.m. until nightfall, there was nothing but sabering and the taking of 30,000 prisoners. Entire regiments of ours were wiped out. Our own regiment suffered greatly, especially the 2nd Battalion, which came under heavy artillery fire. The men from the Coutances were lucky. We have only to mourn young Quenal, who had his leg shattered by a musket ball, but they believe he'll survive with a limp and will keep his leg. As for the others, there is no need to say more. They are all well, as is the one writing you. Let us thank God and pray for peace. We are now billeted in the same villages as before the battle, and there is much talk of our return to France, even to Paris. You have asked me to find out whether the 16th Regiment of Chasseurs à Cheval was destroyed at Ulm. I can only say that they were there. They may have lost men, but were not entirely destroyed, as they were present at this latest engagement. It is still impossible to know the full losses each unit suffered. The towns and countryside are full of the wounded, and the ground is littered with the dead. But the Austrians and Russians will remember this. Our emperor has added to his glory. He charged the enemy at the head of his guard. All three emperors met afterwards, which led to the surrender of the enemy army and our hopes for peace. Our emperor has since returned to Vienna. I haven't yet received your response to my letter from Speyer on the Rhine, in which I mentioned the conscripts who had been taken. It seems no one was spared, but perhaps they're lucky to be spared a battle where one would trade half a life just to save the other half. Kiss her to your children for me. Oh, how I think of them. I hope they think of me just as often. I long to see our mothers again. And you, my dear and tender wife, who lives so far from the one who longs only for the happy moment when he can press you to his heart. Your faithful and loving husband, Hinard, Quartermaster. P.S. You asked dear Rosalie whether quartermasters go into battle. Unfortunately, the answer is all too true. No one is exempt. Even if we bring food, we bring it to the camp under fire. Under other circumstances, I would have dreaded confirming this to you. But when God protects us, we are well protected. Many regards to Pasela and his wife, Motin and his wife, our brothers and sisters, uncles and aunts, Victor and his wife, and to the Levay cousins. I saw their son yesterday. We're not in the same village. Les Livres as well. Les Rendu and Frigo were each struck by a spent bullet but weren't maimed. They walk, drink, and eat well. The war has spared our officers. Not a single one has been killed, though several are wounded. Hinard, Quartermaster of the 7th Company of the 1st Battalion, 40th Line Infantry Regiment. Division of General Suchet, part of the vanguard commanded by Marshal Lannes. Billeted near Brünn in Moravia, or with the main army. Thanks for listening. That's all for another episode of Eyewitness History. Personal accounts from citizens and soldiers who experienced history's greatest moments firsthand. Before you go, be sure to hit like and subscribe and turn on your notifications for more Eyewitness History on our channel. If you'd like to hear more Napoleonic history, our favorites include details of the legendary cavalry charge at Somosierra, memoirs of a life from a captain in Napoleon's Imperial Guard, and battle reports from Trafalgar, from head surgeon of the HMS Victory, who witnessed Horatio Nelson's glorious death. We also have eyewitness videos from other eras, including Lincoln's assassination at Ford's Theater from the man who sat beside him, and accounts from paratroopers who jumped into Nazi-occupied France on D-Day in World War II. Let us know which historical event you'd like to hear about next in the comments. I'm Connor with the Motion Visual. See you next time, and vive l'Empereur.